Welcome back to the podcast. I have an awesome human with me today, a very awesome human, a human who I've known for a really long time, and someone who was so brave and willing to share her story in my book. And as I've shared with you, I wanted to bring some of these women in to the podcast and read back their story to them, and then to see where are they? Where are they now? Because sometimes in these sessions, they were like 2, 3, 4, sometimes 8 years ago. And a lot can change between when the story is written in stone, AKA the book, and then where they are now. So I'm going to turn to page 85 of my book, Authentic, Coming Home to Your True Self. And Megan, I'm just going to read your story first, and then let's jam it out. Meet Megan. Let's see how Megan, one of my legendary clients, worked with the self-inquiry tool. Megan was in all sorts about her work, wondering whether, due to toxicity in the workplace, she should leave or stay. Pregnant with her first baby, she'd been treated as if she were dispensable. The company had changed its path, its actions weren't living up to the values they publicly projected, and she was backed into a corner of either choosing to come back to work full-time with a newborn or find another role. She'd worked at this company for 5 years and loved it. She thought the world of her work and feared she'd never find something as good again. Fear kept her there, but her entire body was saying, this is no longer for you. I'm sure that reading this, it seems obvious she should leave, but her ego story was running rampant and kept her in psychological stress for almost 9 months. 9 very painful months. We all know how paralyzing indecision can be. She could see it and I could see it, but the tennis match of indecision in her head kept her in doubt. The pros and cons list wasn't providing any clarity, and when she sat in front of me, I saw sheer exhaustion and frustration on her face. Megan often relied on her head for answers and guidance, which is cool. But when we're seeking deeper answers and deeper guidance beyond logic and reason, we have to take the short walk from our head to our heart. Grab your pen and journal, I said, and let's do a practice of getting quiet, inquiring, and making space for truth to come forth. We got to get you out of your head and into your heart. Just saying that aloud made her body relax. At the top of her page, I asked Megan to write the question, if I knew what was true and good for me, what would that be? Framing it in this way unplugged the question from, should I do this or should I do that? Is this decision right or is this decision wrong? In doing so, we moved away from seeking certainty to appease anxiety to instead land in her place of knowing. Asking the right question makes a world of difference. It's a practice called self-inquiry. Self-inquiry stops a tennis match inside your head when you're trying to make a choice. This is not easy to say. This is not to say the mind is bad and that logic isn't good, but it all has its place. But when it comes to what really matters to you, the way you want to live and the pace and rhythm you want to move at, then deep self-inquiry is a precious and sacred practice. As spiritual teacher Muji reminds us, self-inquiry is not asking you to believe or trust. It is putting a mirror in front of you and asking you to look. Look and you shall find, because what you seek is also seeking you. I played soft, gentle music, asked Megan to close her eyes, get quiet, breathe, and invite her senses by paying attention to what she could hear, smell, and feel. In this state of presence and emptiness, I reminded her of the question at the top of the page. When she felt ready, she put pen to paper and wrote. The tennis match in her head had stopped and the answer was staring at her in the face. There was no, is this right or wrong? Because she just knew. Her whole body relaxed, her eyes softened, and there was visible peace in her being. Who she had become and the place where she was working no longer aligned. That was the bottom line truth. While her authentic nature had expanded, her place of employment hadn't. Though aligned in herself, she had been rocking up to somewhere that felt wrong for her. What she really wanted, deep in her heart, was to create a way of life where she could work and raise her children with time and space, at her rhythm, at her pace. That was her authentic way. Megan and I caught up 2 weeks later and she had resigned, giving herself space to breathe again. Ever since, she had been flooded with new, fresh, and exciting creative ideas. Awesome at branding and design, she had created a logo and started some sketches. Although she didn't know what lay ahead, she had a sparkle in her eyes and an excited curiosity about what would happen next. She was creating her life. Megan. I feel like I'm transported back in time
Oh,
reading that. Tell me
same.
how that feels to hear that back a few years on now.
I feel emotional. I feel sad for that person that went
Mm,
through that. Honestly, I feel in some senses really distant from that because I've come out the other side,
yeah.
but it was so pivotal in my life, in my adult life. It, I think it will have a lasting impact,
Mm,
but I feel really sad for the version of me that had to go through that. It was heavy. It feels heavy
mm,
again hearing it. I got teary from the get-go.
mm.
But it's okay. Like spoiler alert, I'm on the other side. So now I'm
Spoiler
okay with
alert.
that.
Let's kind
Yeah.
of let's go back to Megan back then and the weight of indecision.
Oh,
Before coming to see me, did you know, like deep down, that that was fundamentally the truth, that where you were in yourself as a human no longer aligned, and that the truth was, I am not meant to be here anymore? Like, did you know that somewhere?
yes, I would say like a very quick and easy response to that is yes. But then my where my head comes into it is don't make a silly decision that you might regret. Give
Okay.
it some deeper thought. And then the deeper thought becomes back and forth and getting
Mm,
stuck between is this my intuition here,
yep.
like my gut telling me it's not right, or is it not my gut and you need to stay and it's a really good opportunity that you've got and you've put your roots here, you've set yourself up here, you're forging your career, and then the back and forth begins. And I only
Yeah.
know that of myself now because of the work that I did with you. But that is my
Mm.
style. And now I can see that has always been my style. And it's still my go-to. I could tell you two major things now that I'm doing with it.
Tell us. Oh my God. Because this is the real, right? Like this is the realness of it. Like in the book at the end, the epilogue, the forever dance. You don't just do this work. You don't go, oh, cool. I've seen an authenticity coach and I'm in someone's book
Yeah.
called Authentic and now I'm authentic and I never have a tennis match
Healed.
going on. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? I am Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, you know, and I can play tennis.
Oh, no, I'm the ball boy in the middle that's just like, what? Who serves it?
Oh, that is good. Okay, so
Oh,
I actually wanted to ask you that, and that's so great that you can say that so with so much ownership, that your go-to is the tennis match, and that you
yeah,
now see it. That's your how you've done things in the past, and that's still your, would you say, automatic go-to?
absolutely. And I think what it might stem from is a bit of like in the workplace imposter syndrome. It
Mm.
always starts as like this a desire to not be cocky. And
Mm.
yeah, like I don't know if this is the right word really or the way to articulate it, but like uh be modest and I come from a very competitive background. I think it's that like my upbringing was always competitive sport,
Right.
professional dancing. So you're in a room of 50 women
Mm.
exactly like me or
Yep.
young girls sort of thing. So
Yep.
I think it was always like a natural side, be humble and be grateful. But then seeing people who are entitled or there's an arrogance about them and never wanting to be that has turned into a bit of
Ah,
self-deprecation, imposter syndrome,
got
which is
you.
then the head going, don't leave this opportunity. You're lucky to get it. So many people want that. Don't ever give it up.
Interesting. Oh, that's
Deep,
juicy.
deep thoughts. Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So
I,
Yeah. So with you, with that competitiveness, instead of being like, I need to be the best, I need to do this, I need to do that. Well, maybe you do that internally anyway. Um, you instead kind of go, hold your place. This is the best that you can get. There's so much competition out there. Don't let anyone take your spot type thing.
I think so. Yeah. Like once you're out, and coming back to this particular example, that
Mm,
workplace, once you're out, your seat is gone. Like that's it.
mm,
And in its infancy, like when it was absolute heyday golden days, unreal.
yeah.
Never want to leave.
Yeah.
Amazing. Don't give up your seat.
Mm,
That feeling of like, this is it.
this is it.
Yeah. And I know even saying that, it's like it's a job. And it's only because I've come out the other side that I actually truly believe that. It is only a job and I was only ever a number. And that's okay. I think
Mm,
that's of all workplaces, that's what we are. And it has to, the older I get, work has to work for us, right?
yep.
Like, and especially I've got two toddlers. So it absolutely has to work for me
Mm,
and our family. Um, but to make no mistake about it, we're a number and that's okay. It's
mm.
not personal.
So then I guess were you making it personal before you had this realization? And if so, what did you wrap around, or what meaning did you wrap around being linked to such a place in your mind, like the pinnacle?
It it felt incredibly personal. It
Yeah.
was it was more than work. We were friends. We were hanging out outside of work. We cared about each other. We cared about the work we were doing. We felt like we were doing good in the world and putting good out into the world, not just clicking a paycheck.
Mm,
It really felt like we were all connected because we were enhancing something greater than ourselves. And that means something to me. It still means
it
something to
definitely
me
does to
to
you.
do
I know
that.
that for sure.
Yeah.
Mm,
And again, like tenfold post having children, I feel like if I am to give time that is taking away from the time that I'm spending with my family, it better be for the greater good.
mm.
So it absolutely felt personal and I felt dispensable, and not in a way where I'm ignorant to think that I'm not replaceable. Every single person is replaceable. But I felt, mm, let's try and articulate this. I felt like I did good work. I was good at what I did. I believed in what we were going after, and I was like on the train to
Mm,
go and achieve it with everyone, right?
yep.
And then the rug got pulled out from underneath me, and everything they had said we were about
Mm.
absolutely was like not even part of the conversation.
Was that due to you being pregnant?
Yeah, yep, yep,
Yep.
yep,
So prior to you
definitely.
being pregnant, you were on the train, you were part of the crew, you were going out, you were having drinks, you were family, you were friends. And
Yeah.
okay, so was it when did you speak up? Did you speak up to say that you need things to change, that you need this to take place because you're having a child?
I think I was, it's interesting if I would do it differently next time, if I had my chance again. I think I was assertive, but never like technically pushing anything.
Mm,
Like, is that actually allowed? I never went anywhere near that area, like
right.
legalities sort of side that I know a lot of people do.
Yep.
But it was more so, it was full time or nothing. And I knew in my body I absolutely wasn't doing that. It was not, I could just feel it. I wasn't ready
Mm,
and I wasn't going to put myself through it. It was never ever an option. So then I remember saying to them one time, like, do you understand that I'll I'm considering going. Like it's that extreme. And it was very clear that it's yeah, everyone understood that. So then sort of
wow.
things just instantly it changed the tone and
Mm,
that was it.
mm. And
Yeah.
that was
I
at the
think
realization of I'm very quickly becoming a number if I'm not
yeah,
part of the way that things are meant to go.
yeah, I yes, and I also believe very specific to my example, but in my situation, becoming a mum is just astronomical. There are no
Mm,
words.
mm,
And I know that you can say that ahead of it happening to you yourself, but there is no shock like relearning yourself and your world after you are career driven, motivated, all of these things. And then you have this 180 moment and you're finding your feet again. To have
mm,
to have that happen felt like no understanding, no empathy, no compassion to what a new mum is going through. Felt very junior, like there was
mm,
no one on the other side going, let's get another mum from the
mm,
business involved and see what was their experience and how can we brainstorm this. There was no creative thinking. It was, this is it, full
mm.
time or nothing. Here's your date. You know,
Wow.
just brutal,
Wow.
pretty brutal. Yeah.
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 And so then, so was it that kind of reality meeting you where you were at of, okay, from what was family to now a number to I have my own family now and I've got this kind of ultimatum of full time or no time, full time or
Mm.
buy. Um, is that when the tennis match started to go forth? When in your, like you beautifully said it, and this is where I know for you, and I know for the likes of me too, and actually for everyone, but specifically yourself, because we're talking here about you, the answers lie within the body. You know, how you said, I could just feel it in my body. I knew I wasn't ready to go back full time. I just knew it in my body. Um, but was that the time where you started to have the tennis match go on of should I go back? Can I do this? Do you think my family will be okay? But then that knowing was kind of bubbling away in your tummy. Was that the set off of it?
I actually think it was prior because as soon as that particular conversation and the parameters, I guess, were made really clear, it was
Mm,
so easy. I just
right.
knew it was the easiest, simplest, clearest thing I've ever done and the best
Mm,
decision as well because
mm,
of what it enabled over the next couple of years.
yep.
But it was sort of in the lead up and something that in my in that chapter in the book as well triggered like I lost a lot of my mat leave consumed in this back and forth. And
Yes.
that was really hurtful to think, how can you
Yes.
put a new mum through this? There's enough going on anyway. As if I have time to build a deck to pitch to you how I can come back part-time. As
Mm,
if I had time to take you through another round of options because my job has changed since I've been away of how let me learn and come back slowly, like evolving over time to see what's actually needed from this role now. It felt like I was
mm,
robbed of certain things. And again, that slightly junior element of like, you don't know what it's like. It is so stressful over here. I'm not hanging out while my baby's asleep, like, you know, building decks,
yeah.
which
Yeah.
ironically I was. But like
Mm,
that really hurt as well. That's where it felt personal in terms of you've got no idea. It should
yeah.
be, like let's work on it together. And that's something too that like because of our relationship prior to me going on mat leave, I wanted to be in it together and
Yes.
like, what do you need? You tell me what you need and let's see if I can
Meet that.
support in that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, so that actually probably was quite fundamental in that I found that really hurtful, I think.
Yeah. As you were talking, how you said how you felt robbed of your mat leave and robbed of a woman evolving into a new phase of life. You know, that's a new season of life, and that's like four seasons in one in a minute. You
Mm.
know, from
Hmm.
from having a child in your tummy to then, holy shit, I need to keep you alive, and I need to keep me alive,
Hmm.
and I need to keep my dog alive, and I can need to keep my marriage alive, and I need to figure out what my career is still like. That's a lot. That's a lot of seasons
Oh,
in a minute.
I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but what's interesting? as you said that, and how you said that you were, writing pitch decks like in your mat leave in that precious time and probably really confusing, beautiful, exquisite, soul crushing, soul wowing time. What I envisioned was this the old Megan who was kind of like, how can I hold on to my old identity of what has brought me a lot of joy and a lot of purpose and a lot of fulfillment, being your previous position. And then this woman who has just birthed her first child, saying with this deep, like a deep grumble, like a mama
Yeah.
bear saying, don't you dare.
Hmm.
Does that like, did it feel
Yep.
like that?
Yeah. I behind closed doors. Yep. I would never have like that's back to that assertion thing. I
Yeah.
I'd never even close came to doing that. I don't know if that's nature or shying away a bit from really pushing like
Mm,
what's right and wrong here. But
mm,
absolutely, it was never an option. And then there's something in me too that is I am red with anger when something is unfair.
yep.
Like there's just something in me that is, I don't know, I'll work
Mm.
on that another time, but with you, when,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're my coaching
yes,
days.
yeah, but when
Mm.
something's not fair,
Mm.
it doesn't sit well.
Yep.
So it just, yes, that protective instinct, but also happy to cut it off and walk away because it's
Yep.
not right. And I'm
Yep.
not even going to. I think the thing was, I'm not investing in this anymore. There's no more back and forth
Mm.
conversations. This is my
Mm.
request. If you can't meet it, I'm very happy to leave.
And when you finally reached that, and I guess when you had that conversation of the ultimatum, when you were given that ultimatum, I think you mentioned it before, but did it just feel at that point really easy to own and back the choice? And then once you did, was there any grief of letting go of what had been, what you thought was always possibly going to be the Megan that was tied up in that?
I think the grief actually is more recent, only
Mm.
because of wanting to find work again that meant as much to me as it did
Oh,
7 years ago. So
yeah.
it's more, and it doesn't exist anymore. So at this workplace, it's not quite the same.
Yep.
So what I'm searching for is the golden days that I
Mm.
had way before kids, where
Mm.
I was purpose driven and really pursuing that and working with the best of the best people, learning all of that stuff, had a growth trajectory, like all of those wonderful things. Now that I'm trying to sink my teeth into various projects, and they're there,
Mm.
but it's not the same feeling as when you are like on fire, alive,
Mm.
doing what you love. So I think that's where it's like grieving something that doesn't exist. And it's not that I didn't make the right decision, but it's like, oh, damn, those days are gone. I wonder if I'll feel like that again. Or is that something that's only afforded to you sort of when you don't have kids and you're trying to work around being flexible with young children?
Mm.
And I choose that as a side note, I should say that I choose to be that parent who I want to be around in those younger years.
Yep.
So, and right now, I can't have it all. I can't have that, the dream of seven
Yep.
years ago, and be the parent that I want to be. So I choose my children
Ooh.
right now.
Wow. That's a
Mm.
really cool thing. That's a really cool thing you said, because I think that there are a lot of people who are going for it all, like, you know, buying the pie and eating the whole pie, and they're
Hmm.
probably not enjoying the pie,
Yeah, yeah,
because they're
yeah.
they're biting off a lot. they're biting off a lot. And I have that belief too. You know, I think a lot of people say, go after all your dreams and make all your dreams happen and everything, you know, you can have everything you want. And it's like, man, okay, maybe that is true, but can you have everything you want at the same time?
Hmm.
Right. And that's what I hear you saying. So, okay, in that, because you're wanting to be and you are a very present mother, that's like what you said, that's your choice. How has it been to not have it all and to not have because yeah, you made a choice to leave a place that were the golden years, but that had changed over time, and you listened to your core, you listened to your values, you made that choice, you put your time, energy, and life force into your family. You've done a few projects on the side that hasn't given you the golden goose feeling. Um, how's that been?
Um, moments of clarity in this is the best possible thing I could have ever done and never would have dreamed of choosing to do. I never thought, and probably all parents say that they don't think they'll be trying to prolong their mat leave, that they'll be looking forward to going back to work.
Mm,
And a lot of parents do. Whereas mine was the opposite. I thought I'd be dying to go back and I wanted
yeah.
to extend and did extend. Um, they are years that I will never ever get back. And I am so grateful for what I was able to give to my children. They
Mm,
were slower years. I didn't want rushing in the morning, rushing of an evening,
yeah.
and that not hostility, but you know, that like
Yeah.
tightness of we're always
Yeah.
running late. I
Bound up.
really didn't want
Nervous
that.
systems are
Yes,
wound up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we got that. So I'm really grateful that we had that. And that will never change. You know, that's how my
Mm,
children were. They were their early years. It was slower and more enjoyable. Um, and then moments of, oh my God, it is like bedlam out there in trying to reestablish myself.
mm,
So there's like a lot of, I don't know if ego comes into it, but it's a lot of like, do I have to start again?
mm.
And there's a difference in the consulting world that I'm in and in-house world and
Yep.
really starting again. And the world moves on without you in a way because your
That's
network
true.
changes and you know, the city we live in is very fast paced.
Mm,
So, and then all the working from home, you know, like it's a really different world to when I left.
mm.
Um, but I do have to sort of say through gritted teeth, no regrets, but it is the next sort of year for me will be the
Okay.
real, yeah, does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of
No
sense.
regrets
So,
in terms of the parenting side of things,
yes.
absolutely not. But
Yes.
the career stuff
Mm,
and having it all, that will be the next 1 to 2 years, I think, and trying to reestablish myself and making sure that I keep getting to get like it will be my turn again soon, is what I keep thinking.
yes.
And that's
Yes.
okay. Like I'm happy to pause. I wanted to pause.
Mm,
My turn will come again.
mm. And is that turn coming soon? And if it is there a bit of like,
Yeah, there's a bit of it's easier to say stuff than to be like, oh, really? We're doing that?
you sure you're ready to go to school, darling?
Yeah.
Do you want to
Yeah.
be homeschooled? I'll homeschool you.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. That.
yeah. Okay. So the
Mm.
when you say the gritted teeth, so the gritted teeth of made the right choice in terms of your family, what felt very right, good and true for you, and still does. And then is the gritted teeth the part of how am I going to get back out there? What do I want to do when I'm back out
Yeah.
there? Is so there's the questions again all around there.
Yeah, I think it's like a nervousness, a bit
Mm,
of like I get to choose now. Like it is a clean slate, and I'm in a fortunate position where I do get to choose, and I am being picky because of that
yep.
purpose-driven
Yep.
desire. Um, so the brands that I work with or am in contact with, it's very strategic, and the list gets smaller, honestly, over time of who
That is
is
true.
doing good work in inverted commas,
Yeah,
that
and
I
like
want to be
proper
a
good
part of.
work. Yeah, not
Yes,
greenwashing, green
yes.
tick.
No,
Yeah, like proper,
deeply good work.
deeply good work. Yeah. So that
Yes.
is your like prerequisite now going back out into the world. It's got to be what is your most ideal not necessarily the name of the brand, but what are they,
Mm.
as in what are some things that they stand for? What's important to you when you put your name to, I'm coming back out into the world, and this is the way I'd like to do it, even considering your family dynamic and pace and rhythm of life, etc. What's that look like for Megan?
I'm not sure it exists, but if I'm to put it out into the
Yeah.
universe, flexible hybrid working.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do kinder drop off or the pickup. My husband will do the other. Um, I want brands that believe in social and environmental change.
Mm,
Uh, I want to be a part of a brand that is pushing the norm
mm,
in in any facet of human rights, animal rights,
mm.
the environment, the way forward, mental health, like all of those good, juicy
Yeah.
subjects, forging a new path and being a part of something big and people who are positive and like joyous about creating change. I
Mm,
love that. That's an infectious kind of place to work in. And I think it brings out the best in me personally. And then you bring that home. That's what
mm.
I have found in previous roles, sorry. That energy is truly infectious and you get to carry it on. Like that's how we met.
That is
It
very true.
attracts, it's that the law of
Mm.
what is it? The law of attraction.
Law of attraction. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just believe in all of that good karma stuff.
Mm,
But what I'm also finding is it's hard. So starting my own thing might be also the way to get everything right for right now
mm-hmm,
because I'm asking a lot and I know I'm asking a lot.
mm-hmm,
Um, so my kids will always come first.
mm.
When they are older, it can be my turn again to go after something bigger if that is still relevant. But for now, yeah.
Love that. It's
Mm.
um it's a really beautiful sacrifice
Oh.
that I think one, I mean, one, it's so great that you're in a position where you can choose that, with you and your partner, and that's a possibility. So to have that choice and to actually take it, to have that choice and actually take it, because I think that there are some people who don't have that choice and they can't take it. And there are some people who have that choice and they don't take it. And I've seen many young children suffer as a result of
Mm.
that. And to say, my turn will come. My time has, I've had my turn, and now it's my turn to be a mother and to show up as a mother, and then my turn will come again to, uh, you know, hybrid work, hybrid mothering. And then when the kids get older, it's okay. I can sink my teeth into that. I just think it's a very adaptable mindset that you've got, um, in shifting with evolution, the evolution of you and your husband and your dog that's now turned into a family, and you've moved with it, as opposed to hold on to something and then try and do everything and then you're nowhere to be found, right? Like the real you is nowhere to be found. I think what's beautiful in, even though at times you're like, oh gosh, did I really make the right decision? Because now it's hard to get back out into
Mm.
work, but no, I know that I did, and yada yada yada. The tennis match begins. You're there. underneath all of that, you can see that you're there and you know that you've made the right call and you know you've made the right choice. And I don't think anything can get fucking better than that when you are
Yeah.
intact, you know? And I'd say that you are intact. Of course, we've got noise. Of course, we've got this. Of course, we've got whatever else is happening. But let me just reflect that back to you because what a cool choice you've made.
That's very kind. Thank
Mm,
you.
yeah.
It's in the simplest form, yes, not not to look over the hard, that tennis match is still there,
Yes.
to be, to make that clear as well.
Mm,
It is there, but I know on the great days, I know and I feel it. On the harder days, it is a bit like, oof, a bit jarring.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Are you still at times practicing to come back into your body and writing down from that very nice, relaxed place? This is how I'd love it to be.
I wish I was better at it
Mm,
because in our work, I remember saying, I actually don't know what voice, what
mm,
what is my gut anymore. I completely lost it. And I think
mm.
I don't know why, but I need to work on getting in touch with intuition again.
Yep.
And I don't know if I'm prone to be in my head.
Mm,
Maybe it is that that pulls me away from it. But I
yep.
like now I could do that again and try and find that center grounded place again.
Yeah.
So I wish I did it more. And again, when I feel it,
Mm,
when I'm grounded, sort of, and I feel it and everything's in sync and life is simple and
mm.
going exactly according to plan, it's probably there clearly.
Yeah.
But in the busyness and the noisiness is when I'm
Yes.
like, oh, what
Yeah.
is, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
where is up? It feels a
Yeah.
bit.
The it is something that we do need to practice. And the head is very much the first place that we'll go because it's the place that we've relied on for a lot of years.
Mm,
The body, has been, at some point in our lives became an uncomfortable place. Like, oh, I don't like that emotion. I don't like this feeling. I don't like that. Oh gosh, that hurt. That was traumatic. That was embarrassing. That was shameful. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know how to name those feelings. I'm just going to go up into my head. And we split off from our body. And yeah, the greatest way to take a break from your head is to locate your body in time and space, to breathe into your body, to find a place in your world that just feels like a sacred spot, a sacred spot. Mine's on the canal with the trees around me and I can hear all the birds and I take my journal with me. And the minute I'm there, I just drop. When I try and do that at home, I'm like, nah, I'm hearing everything. I still feel like I'm in my
mm,
home. I feel like, I've got my hat on this, I've got my hat on that, stepmom hat, wife hat, Bailey and Daisy's mum hat, all of
mm.
that stuff. But the minute I take myself out and I'm in a sacred spot, there it is. There it is. And I can see you doing really good work in the world in whether it's on your own or with a company or consulting for a company, contracting for a company that you really believe in. I really can see it. And this is where in ways we can have it all. But in like for example, I feel like I have it all. The way that I work, where I work from, the hours that I choose, like this is my life. I've created my life. And then there are parts that still suck about it. At times I get lonely. At times I'm like, fuck, I never leave my house. I get to do all the
Yeah.
work from my house, but then I'm like, oh my God, I never leave my house. I've only seen the dogs today. I've only
Yeah.
seen Steve today. And I know that sounds like a very first world problem, but there's always going to be, the little trade-offs that we will need
Something.
to experience. There's always going to be something, always going to be something.
Mhm.
But I see that for you. And again, just tapping right into you. I can just see you sitting somewhere that feels really nice, and I can see the wind just really gently moving your hair. And you have a journal and you have a pen and you're just writing out how you'd love it to be. How I would love it to be. Oh, how I would love it to be. Even starting it like that. Oh, how I'd love it to be an easeful life full of purpose, connection, fulfillment. A place where I can go, and I just see it rolling like a script, rolling like a script, rolling like a script. And there's, you're gonna write that and think, oh my God, which fucking part of me is writing this? Is it my ego? Is it my inner child? Is it my true self? Is it fucking the universe? Is it a ghost? What is it? And you just fucking go with it. You
Oh,
just
I
go with
love
it.
that.
Oh, how I'd love it to be.
I love that.
Yeah. I know it for you. I know it for you. I can feel it. My brain
Thank
says,
you,
how
Kat.
do you know that? But I know your tenacity. I know your I can feel it in your bone marrow, how much you give a fuck, right? You give a really good fuck about the things that matter. I know that for sure. I know that for sure with both of our love for animals, with both of our love for standing up for them because they don't have a voice. Um, I know that really matters to you, and I know you will pave a path for that. And whilst you pave that path, I think one of your greatest, probably untapped gifts is to tap into your heart. Oh, how I'd love it to be.
Thank you, Kat. That is so nice. I love that.
I'm going to go and do that too. I'm like, oh, I like that. I like the start of that sentence, but
If
it's,
you see
yeah.
me at your canal, that's what I'm
I'll be
doing.
like, get out of my sacred spot, bitch. No, I'll be like, we can share.
I need to find a
um,
canal.
so, look, and this is the thing. The dance continues, the journey continues
Yeah,
of
for sure.
tennis match goes, got to remember my body. Tennis match goes, I've got to remember my heart. Tennis match goes, I've got to remember what deeply matters. And if you can sprinkle some of that just a little bit into your sphere, just like you made that really bold move, like what we wrote about in this book, it'll happen again. And that's probably also cool to see that pattern in yourself. You'll do your fucking head in for a bit and then you'll
Mm.
come back to yourself and the answer will be there and then you'll do something about it. Tennis match, you'll come back to yourself, you'll do something about it. And if each time you can just lessen the the number of sets that you play tennis, let's just knock them out in one set, knock them out in one game, ace them every time. No juice advantage, juice advantage, juice advantage, none of that.
Yes.
um, oh, how cool that'd be.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Even that is just such a good reminder for
Yep.
me to know about myself that like hindsight is great, but when I'm in it, try and pull myself out
Yes.
of it quicker.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you notice it, when you notice, all right, here I go again. I'm doing it again. I'm telling myself that's not possible, that maybe I can't, that maybe I'm asking too much, and da
Mm.
da 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 da. Just take what you can get. Like, so going back to that competition thing that you were talking about, it's like, oh, hang on. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, there's my little pattern. Off I go. Let me just take a break from the match.
Pause.
Yeah, let me get the ice pack and let me get, a towel and just sit on the bench. Sit on the bench for a bit. Um, and in that space, the answer's usually there.
Oh, I love how peaceful. So peaceful.
Yeah. So next time you do it, I'd love for you to snap a little photo and text me. Text me and say, I'm in my sacred spot.
Oh my God, I will.
Yeah. Um, I want to say a massive thank you. One for saying yes to being part of the book, because I know that that's a big thing to say yes to, and it's in print, and there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people reading your story. And to then saying yes to coming here today to let us know where you're at and for really reminding everyone who's listening that the dance of coming back home to ourselves, it doesn't end. But it can hopefully get a little bit better and a little bit easier each time. So I just have mad respect for you, huge love for you.
Mm.
And I can't wait to see what cool things that you get to put your name to in the world.
Thank you so much, Kat.